Before we commence, let's take a few moments to worship the Supreme One, the infinitely compassionate One, the Sublime One, the Supreme Buddha. To do so, please join me in making our determination to follow the path of the Supreme Buddha, to follow in his footsteps and in his students' footsteps, by chanting Namaskara 3 times all together and with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, today I want to start off by asking you guys a question. And this question, I don't know, it may be simple, but we'll see if we can get a good enough answer. What is something that when we want, we have less of it? When we don't want, we have more of it. Everyone has it, but no one owns it. What do you guys think? Should I ask the question again? Huh? So what is something that when you want it, what is it? Yes, when you want it, the less you have of it. When you don't want it, the more you have of it. Everyone has it, but no one owns it. Happiness. The more you have of it, the less you... No, the more you want it, the less you have of it. Okay, happiness is an option. Anything else? Stress. Okay. Any other ideas? Well, the answer to this, you can call it a riddle, is something that we've explained before in a past sermon. And that's time. Because time is very confusing. Honestly, since I was little, I had a strong hatred towards time. Because we all have it, but then we don't have it. We all want it, but the more we want time, the less time we have. And when we don't want it, the more time we got. For example, we all know Albert Einstein, right? He has this very famous saying that if you were to sit with someone that you like and have a conversation, an hour will feel like a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. Whereas, if you were... I think the example he gives is if you were to put your hand on a hot plate, a couple of minutes feels like a couple of hours. You see, time is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because we all know, right, because we've listened to lots of sermons, that it's an illusion. But yet we still feel time. We feel that an hour has gone, 2 hours have gone, a day has gone, a year has gone. But the thing about time is, as you grow and as you grow older, the faster time feels, which is dangerous. Very dangerous. Let me explain. Who's the youngest in the room today? Probably someone at the back? Yes? So, should I say 13, 14, 15? Okay, probably. You see, 5 years. When I say the word 5 years, depending on your own age and how old you actually feel, you feel 5 years to be different. For example, someone who is 5 years old says, this is my entire life. 5 years is such a long time. Someone who's 10, they say, that's half my life. That's pretty long. But as you grow older, if you're 20, that's a quarter. You say, yeah, that's a quarter of my life. That I could do so much in 5 years. But as you grow older, 5 years become shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter until literally there'll be a time where you look one way and the other and 5 years have gone. You look up or you look down, another 5 years have gone. Because as we grow older, because time can only be measured. Right? It's something that we can measure. So we can say, okay, from 12 to 12, that is 12 hours. Or 12 midnight to 12 midnight, that is 24 hours. It's two places that we measure. So when we measure time, we're comparing with something. So if you think about it, time is not felt linearly. So what I mean is, it's not felt like this. More, it's felt like that. Now let me tell you why this is dangerous. Let me tell you why this is dangerous. Because yes, the 24 hours is the same for all human beings. Yes, I agree. Whether you're, I don't know, in Sri Lanka or you're in, say, America or you're in the North or South Pole, 24 hours will always be 24 hours. However, although 24 hours is 24 hours, we feel it to be different. We feel it to be different. Now you could say, okay, like if you're younger, you feel 24 hours to be longer. If you're older, 24 hours feels to be shorter. But in the end of the day, as we grow older, as time goes on, the time we feel that we have becomes shorter. And that means the time that we have left to do what we want to do. So everyone in this room wants to do what? To attain their salvation, to attain their liberation, to attain Nibbána. We're having less and less and less time. Now, this is not me saying, oh no, we're all going to die in the end, and creating fear in your heart. What I'm trying to do here is to show you that we have to be diligent. We have to work hard. We have to try to attain our goal, which is our liberation, which is something that we can find, that sometimes can escape our minds. Especially when we're busy with something, we forget. So let's say you've been given the responsibility of doing A, B, and C. So it feels as though your time is spent doing just these three responsibilities. What we fail to realize is time is going on. Yet you're doing these three responsibilities. But how much time have you spent on your salvation? See, every now and then we have to take a break. Take a step back and ask yourself, am I doing everything for my salvation. As much as I possibly can do. Am I doing absolutely everything? Am I giving my salvation my 100%? If you ask me, no. There's more. If you ask my teachers, they'll say, no, there's more. The only person who would have used their time 100% to attain their salvation will be someone who is what? An arahant. But we have to try to find what more we can do. In every nook and cranny of our lives, we have to fill it in with what? Somehow to practice our path. Because remember, time doesn't stop for anyone. No one gets younger, unfortunately. No one has found the fountain of youth. No one has found the philosopher's stone. No one has found immortality. So we all have very limited time. Which means what? If we all have limited time, okay, who here is the first person to pass away? Who is the first person here to kick the bucket? Well, we can calculate them. We say, okay, this person's the oldest. They have approximately 4 more years to live. And we can say, okay, this person. But can we? I remember one day my teachers, and especially the Venerable Amada Santeru, he one day in a sermon had asked, how many of you today have a cancer? Right now, put your hand up if you have a cancer. And just like normal, no one puts their hands up. Or those who do have cancer or had cancer would put their hand up, but usually it would be very minimum people. But the thing he'll keep on saying is, how do you know if you don't have one right now? So within the past couple months, some of our monks in the monastery have been sick, right? And don't forget, we've been through a massive pandemic, right? Where people have become very sick and it's spreading the virus, and more people becoming sick. Can you tell me that you don't have a virus in you right now? Can you tell me that there isn't something in you right now that has the possibility to kill you? Now, I'm not trying to make this dark. I'm trying to make this more of something to remind you, something to ring that bell saying that, okay, you have to do something. You have to do something more, just one bit more. I'm trying to ring that bell in your heads, in your minds. Trying to give you that idea that what more can I do? Now, that's not me saying, okay, drop everything, right? There's a Valley model right there. Okay, everyone go to the Valley model and spend 24 hours in the Valley model, eat, sleep, and do everything in the Valley model. Don't take a step outside. That's the way to do it. Trust me, no. That's not the way. Because what is Nibbána? Nibbána isn't about Velimaru, right? Isn't about just meditation. Because I remember growing up, and I've had several people in my life saying, you know what, meditate. How to meditate? You sit down, right? And I remember, I used to go to the Hampasal, right? And I'm pretty sure most of you also have been to the Hampasal, right? And what do they teach you? Sit down in a secluded area, right? Or they make every child go hush, right? Next to impossible, but they still manage to do something. Sit them all down, everyone cross their legs, right hand over your left hand, and breathe. Now, that was meditation for me back then. And I remember I couldn't sit still for more than like 2 minutes. Right? It was I was way too over. I had way too much energy to sit down for 2 minutes, but that was meditation. But now we all realize that meditation isn't just staying in one place. Meditation is, I see it more like a game. I see it more like a game. You against yourself. So last week we talked about how we have to be a teacher to ourselves. And I was thinking about this, and what we're trying to do is, one chitta is being a teacher for another chitta. So pretty much, we're talking about two chittas here. One chitta is talking about is trying to teach the path to another chitta. So, what meditation should be isn't you just focusing on a single thing, or focusing on just a single place. Like, meditation is more than that. Meditation is a game, a fight against what? Your own defilements, places that you can feel, give you what? Desire, aversion, places that you feel ego. I remember I was talking to some children, right? And they had learned some of the Dhamma, but they wanted to know how to meditate. And these children were avid gamers. They love playing games. So I said, meditation is a game. They're like, really? I was like, yes. What you have to do is you're attacking who? Your defilements. So imagine your defilements on the other end, right? And you throw a rock and say, this is anicca. And you contemplate on anicca. Try to put anicca into the problem. Like when we play games, we're not always successful. But do we give up? When we used to play any sort of game, did we give up just because we couldn't defeat one person? No, we tried again. And again, and again, and again. Because we're not scared of, if we fail, what's going to happen? No, we just want to pass and get to the next level. Same with meditation. We want to get rid of this defilement and then move to the next one. Once you get rid of one small defilement, that gives you the energy and motivation, a power up, to move to the next one. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. That's why those people who have practiced the path find joy in practicing. They find joy in practicing. Because why? Every time they attack their opponent, every time they attack their own defilements, what do they have? They get new power-ups. They get new weapons. They get new things to attack. You see, this is why we have very little time, though. We have very little time. You can say, well, I am still X amount of years old. I still have Y amount of years left. But how do we know that? Like we were saying before, how do you know right now you don't have a disease in you that's going to kill you in the next 24 hours? No symptoms until, say, another 2 hours. For example, there are some people who don't show any symptoms until they drop dead. Okay. The older generation among us, are you the ones who are going to pass away first? Honestly, we still feel that though, don't we? We still have that feeling, because I'm now 60, 70, 80 years old, it's gonna be soon. I'm just waiting for it to happen. We still feel that, no, I am the one, like, I'm becoming too old now. I'm this many years old. It's coming soon. I'm just waiting for it now. But seriously, everyone among us should be feeling the same thing. There should be no one who doesn't think, when is it going to happen? We have to remember that our life is short. Now, like I said, like time is exponential, right? If we looked at our entire samsara, this life is nothing. Literally, I think the example that the Buddha gives is like it's like a bolt of lightning. So the past couple of days we've had lots of rainfall, right? Some lightning, right, and storms. And sometimes you just look outside and you just see a flash of lightning, right? And then a couple seconds later you hear the rumble of thunder. But that flash of lightning is so minuscule, so small. And that is the same amount of time that we have to do this. To take that one step forth, to be able to take one more step ahead. Again, we have to ask ourselves, am I doing everything I possibly can for my liberation, for my salvation, for my Nibbána? Am I doing everything? Is there not something else I can do? I remember one thing I used to hate, right? Absolutely detest, was timetables. I mean, not like timetables like 2 times 1 and all that. I mean, timetable as in allocating time to do something. I remember when my teachers had asked me to make a timetable the first time. I was like, okay, I got the sheet of paper, started writing down, from this time to this time I'll be doing this, and this time to this time. I tried for 2 days. I think I can say that with pride. I tried for 2 days. The next day I went to my teacher and said, I can't do this. I can't do this. It's not possible. How can I do this from this for just 2 hours, but I want to do 3 hours, and this is going to take me 4 hours to do, but yet I have to stay here and do this. And all I had was just complaining. Because timetables used to be, like, I think some of the monks may even agree with me who were there back at that time. They were an enemy. You say timetable and I would literally like crumble. Why? Because I thought it was something that was putting boundaries. That this is only the only thing that I can do here. Just do this from this. Just for a couple of hours, couple of minutes. But then when you realize that time is an illusion, that time is a feeling. When you realize that, okay, the time that I feel is just a feeling that I have. Now, timetables are different. Now, timetables become a tool more than a rule. They become a way for you to utilize your time. To do the maximum you possibly can do. So, for example, let's say you're listening to a sermon. How can I utilize this time to make the maximum benefit? What can I do at this moment to utilize this time to give me the maximum? Because unfortunately, life isn't easy. Life isn't fair. We all wish it was. Right? That everything goes to plan. That nothing will happen. It won't rain today. Right? If it rains, I've taken an umbrella, which means I'll be 2 minutes late. Right? Which messes with my timetable and da-da-da-da-da. But we should be able to utilize the time that we have. So let's say you're walking from A to B. Instead of just walking, what more can I do? How more can I help myself? Like last time we touched upon the point, will I be contemplating on the noble metta? Will I be contemplating on the craving I have towards cake? Will I be will I be trying to see the world as Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana? Or try to see the world as energy from walking from A to B? If say it takes me 10 minutes to get from say home to here, right? Let's say it takes you 10 minutes to come from home to here. How can I make this 10 minutes worth it? What can I do to make this 10 minutes worth it? Sometimes it doesn't just need to be you sat down and maybe not, you don't need to be contemplating. Maybe in that 10 minutes you go and talk to someone. That could be utilizing your time. Why? You are talking to someone. You may be discussing the Dhamma. You may be trying to, maybe one day you got an idea. You thought, so according to this sermon, that sermon, I had this idea. What do you think about it? And therefore, you're utilizing your time because why? You're trying to see. This is why, like, Dhamma Sakacha or Dhamma discussions, these are very useful for two things. Number one, whatever I know, you guys will be able to understand. If you have any questions, you can ask. But number two, if something that I know is wrong, I'm saying, say, pleasure comes from the release of vexation, but the vexation itself comes from the chocolate. Now you can say, wait, that's not what I have learned. That's not what I understand. And now you're saying something to help me. So even having a conversation with another person can be something that helps you go further on the path. But again, be careful. Because conversations have a tendency to go everywhere. You start off by talking about Dhamma, you end off in about talking about a person in all the way in New Guinea. How did that one thing lead to the other? We don't know, but it just came in the conversation. Again, you have to be focused. But again, try to look for things that you can do to utilize your time. Say, for example, today you can have Gilampasa. How can you utilize that time? You're having some tea or, maybe you're taking some medicine. How can you utilize that time? How can you make the maximum of the time? Something that I like doing is trying to look at things that work for other people. Usually I would go around and ask. If I don't ask, I'm observing. Seeing what this person is doing. Because I remember once, and to this day, Amadas Nahandru and several monks, so I remember I had the great fortune of traveling with some of our monks to places. And a habit that I've always seen is whenever they pass a Buddha statue, in Sri Lanka, right, for those of you who may not know, in Sri Lanka, every crossroad will have a statue of the Buddha. And that's a blessing. Honestly, yeah, I've asked and said, like, why does every crossroad have a statue? Is there a significance? So far, I haven't got a solid answer. But I've seen every crossroad, there will be a statue of the Buddha. And maybe even a Bo tree. And every time one of our monks goes past one of these statues, their hands will come up. And I've seen it several times, one day, second day, third day. And I thought, I'm going to ask. I'm just gonna ask. And one day I was with one of our monks, and I said, Venerable said, like, why when you pass a statue, why did you worship? And he gave me an explanation. He said that I worship because when I see the Buddha, the first thing that comes into my head is, am I on the path at that moment? And to thank the Buddha for reminding him, he put his hands up together. And from that day onwards, whenever I see a statue, if ever I go out, I put my hands up. Hands up, hands together. In worship, in veneration. Now, the best thing about this is, now I think we talked about this last time as well, that this is a trigger. So it triggers what? Contemplation. So again, he has utilized his time. So what more can you do for your Nibbána? There is so much. So much you can do. Either by asking or by observing. Now, not just talking about monks here. Sometimes I've learned from all of you, whether you know it or not, sometimes I've learned from all of you some things. Like, for example, how to talk to another person, how to say something without hurting another person's feelings, how to behave in a way that makes another person feel respected. Now, though you can say, well, that's not Nibbána, right? Making someone feel respected, that's not Nibbána. Well, it is. There's no you may not see a direct connection, but there is an indirect connection. Because why? You're thinking about what? You're thinking about that mind. You're not thinking about people. You're thinking about a mind. How can I make this mind feel respected? How can my actions help this other mind? How can my words help this other mind? See, when you have to constantly ask yourself, am I doing enough? What more can I do? Is there anything else I can do? It could be simply as waking up 5 minutes earlier. I remember, and to this day, I know lots of people who have issues with the snooze. And Amarasnanda has lots of sermons about snoozing, so I won't go into details about that. But again, if you find it hard to wake up in the morning, right, just like 5 minutes more. Okay, I just slept for 5 hours, right? Just like 5 minutes more won't do much. If you have that tendency to stay in bed and like, not fall back asleep, but just like stay in that comfort of your bed, try to utilize that time. I mean, first of all, try to get out of bed. That's option number 1. But sometimes the bed has a glue, right? And you're glued onto the bed. I can't say no to that. But utilize that time. You can ask yourself, okay, why am I still here? Not in the bed. I mean, why are you still here in samsara? What more defilements do I have? You can learn from books. Waking up in the morning, putting your hands together and worshipping the Supreme Buddha. You can learn from books, learn from people, learn from everything. That's the thing, we are all students. That is the best thing that I have ever seen. Being a student. Being ready to learn from anyone or anything. We have to be open to be able to learn, to utilize and think about things. Because remember, life is short. As time goes on, time speeds up. 5 years for you will feel like 5 years, but in another couple of years will feel like 2, will feel like 1. The best example I can give, do you all remember last year? Would you say it felt like a year to you? We're in the year 2024, right? Yes? I haven't missed a year, have I? Okay. 2023 went by like this. 2023 went by like this. Now look at 2022, 2021. Like, the best way I can show you this is I remember when someone told me this, I was shocked. Do you all remember? Is it called Frozen? The film Frozen? Do you all know when that was out? It was out 12 years ago. 12 years ago. But yet it feels like about a few years back. 12 years have passed. Now, there's now not enough proof to show you that time is exponential. As time goes on, time feels as though it's going faster. So as we reach the last couple years of our life, time will go by too quickly. Now, when is our last couple years? We're in our last couple years. Time will go by very quickly. Utilize that. Now make sure, because it feels as though you're trying to hold on to water. The more you try, the more it slips between your fingers. The more you try, again, it slips between your fingers. That's what time feels like, because the more you try to hold, it seeps through the gaps. And the only time you realize that you don't have water left, it's like you realizing you don't have enough time left. So for the younger ones among you, in my heart you are all the younger ones, right? But the younger ones among you, don't take your youth to be seen as, I have enough time. I have another 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I have another, maybe, if I'm lucky, another 80 more years. My grandmother lived up to 95. I have another good old 70 years, 80 years. Remember to use your time, because it's very, very, very short. It is very, very, very short. You'll be surprised when time, if it has been 12 years since Frozen has come out, another 12 years from now, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Or what do you all think? It's gonna go by. And then you'll realize, I don't have enough time left. And then you'll stress over it. Then it won't be contemplating about Dhamma, it'll be contemplating, I only have years left, I only have a couple years left, I only have 5 years, 6 years, 7 years left. And not contemplating on what's important. You'll be contemplating about, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. That's why we have to do it before that time comes. Before we come into this fear, okay, it's all going to end, I'm going to pass away very soon. We have to do that before that. Before we have that fear. We have to get rid of these defilements right now. Again, use your time wisely. Utilize your time. Utilize your time to the maximum you possibly can. Ask yourself every week, every day. Maybe we even take these Poya days as a date. Mark these Poya days and ask yourself, am I doing the maximum I possibly can for my salvation? I'll tell you, as a hired-in monk, every poya, they have to do something where they have to go in front of the Buddha and they have to say a stanza. Now, me being the very curious person, I went and asked and said, like, Abhihandru, why? Venerable Sir, why do they do that? So every boy, they have to go, and they have to go in front of the Buddha, and there's a certain, you can say it's a ritual that they have to perform by themselves. So, and I asked, like, why? What is the purpose? The purpose is this. This is to remind them a month has gone. 30 days have gone. Am I doing enough for my salvation? So take these poor days as a day of remembering, a day of asking yourself, am I doing enough? Making sure that you remember, okay, a month has gone. Because our weeks are very eventful. Therefore, we don't feel time to go by. So in the monastery, we'll have lots of sermons, teachers' meetings. What else do we have? Dane, right? Buddha pujas. What else? Huh? Say it louder. What else do we have? Meetings, discussions, sajjanas, right? Recitations, meetings, more meetings, helping other people, merit activities. And if you were to compile these all into your timetables, it sometimes you feel, wait, we had Guru Handru's sermon like just yesterday, right? No, 4 days have gone by. I don't know about everyone here, but that's how I mark my week. I mark my week by when I had Guru Handru or Amadasam sermon last. That's how I measure how much time has gone by. So we have a sermon by either Guru Handru or Amadasan Handru every Thursday. And so Thursday, and then you go, okay, it's Saturday. 2 days have gone by. But you feel that, no, that sermon was yesterday. Because why? Our mind is very busy. Our mind is very busy. We have so much to do. Now, I'm not saying, I'm saying that having a busy mind is amazing. Because it means that we're doing something. Right? It means that we're doing something with our time. It's not that we're sitting back and thinking, what should I do now? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? No, it's that you know that you have this, next you have this, next you have this. Which means you know that you're doing something. Perfect. But always take a moment and ask, am I going on the right track? Am I doing what I have to? Am I doing the maximum I'm doing that I have to do? How close am I there? So take these poya days and mark these poya days down. And ask yourself, am I doing enough? Go to your teachers and ask, Venerable Sir, Mahatmi, am I doing enough? What more can I do? See, utilize your teachers' meetings as well. Utilize your teachers' meetings as well. Make it very advantageous. Make sure that 1 hour is a pretty well spent 1 hour. Utilize that time. Maybe if there's try to ask, what more can I do? How can I make this? How can I practice something that's always stick to my head? Because Guru Handru had continuously said this for a time, and that is, it's not about the quantity. It's never about the quantity, how much we do something. It's about the quality, or how well we do it. So, if I was to spend 3 hours doing merits, it's not about the 3 hours. It's about what? How well I spent my time. In the 3 hours, sometimes you may even be spending just 5 minutes doing proper, like, a very concentrated amount of merits. You may be maybe in the value model for, say, 40 hours a week. 40 hours, right? But in that time being, it may be that it was only out of the 40 hours, just 10 hours. I'm not saying that's wrong, that's fine. Because you had to have that 40 hours to have that 10 hours. I'm saying, yes, good. But try to see how can you, not about how much more time, but how can I use that time better? How can I use that time better? How can I do more in that time? If I had another person help me, will my task be easier? So can I move on to something else? We have very limited time. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got very limited amount of time. Use it. Use it to the maximum you possibly can. Utilize it, use it, and get it over and done with. Something, again, that my teachers keep on telling me is just use this life. Contemplate just in this life. Just sacrifice this life, and next life, if it doesn't go right, just next life, just enjoy the pleasures of the world. Just sacrifice this life for your Nibbána. Because if it goes well, we're out. If not, well, because you've done lots of merits, well, heavenly planes it is. Now, that's not saying those are good things. I'm saying sacrifice what you have now. This life, sacrifice it. Do the maximum you possibly can. Does that make sense? Good. Okay. So now I want to move on to something completely different. Because we went talking about time and how to utilize our time. Now I want to move to talk about more of the Dhamma. So, for this, I have our trusty IT team to help me out here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a picture. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen the picture, right? But no matter how many times you see this picture, it is very confusing. Very confusing. As in, it almost created, you can almost say it almost created World War III online. Almost created World War III. Because no matter how hard you look at it, you just can't seem to understand how. How does it not happen? If you guys know, I'm talking about, it's literally called the dress. It's called the dress, or the dress. Can we have the photo? Now, alright, first of all, show of hands if you've seen this picture before. Surprising, okay. That's a good thing for me. Can we shut the lights? And this one? No, this one and that one. So this is an ordinary dress. For those of you who don't know, this is an ordinary dress. But the question I'm going to ask will bring up the rivalry. And this one? Okay. What color is a dress? Now you can give me the smart answer and say, well, sorry, no, color doesn't exist in the picture. Yeah, okay, I know. But what I'm trying to ask is, what color is a dress? Ready? Put your hand up if you see black and blue. Hands up high, high. Put your hand up if you can see gold and white. Yeah. Some people see gold and white, whereas other people see black and blue. We're looking at the same picture, right? I mean, anyone here looking at a different picture? Everyone look there. Right? We're all looking at the same dress here. I can tell you, right? In my perspective, in my perception, I see gold and white. Right? That's not me lying, right? I'm telling you the honest truth. So what you see to be black, I see to be gold. What you see to be white, I see to be blue. Or I see to be white, you see blue. That can't be right. And if I asked you to put your hands up again, there are people in the room that can see gold and white. There are people in the room that can see black and blue. So what color is the actual dress? Okay. Let's have an argument. Okay, let's have a debate. Right? I say it's gold and white. I say it's gold and white. Who thinks otherwise? I think it's gold and white. Literally, this one picture tore the internet apart. Because half the population saw gold and white. The other half saw black and blue. Just try to see the other color. Just try to see the other color. Okay. Let's all make, by the power of all the merits we've made. May I see gold and white? Or may I see black and blue? Can you? I don't know about you guys, but I can't see black and blue. But yet, actually, surprisingly, most of you saw black and blue, which was actually surprising because I thought most people saw gold and white. Why is that? Because I can see gold and white. We are all seeing the same image, aren't we? Aren't we? We are all seeing the same image, aren't we? Well, this is proof, right? It's proof in itself. Do we have picture number 2? There we go. This is what you guys see, or most of you. And this is the black and blue, and that is the white and gold. Right? That's what you guys see, right? Kind of-ish. Right? That can't be. I say the dress is white and gold. But you guys say it's black and blue. But we're all looking at the same picture here. But we say differently. Hmm? Well, not really. Because, put your hand up if you see gold and white. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Either the 8 of us are crazy, or the rest of you are crazy. It's not about direction. It's to show you that color was never here in the first place. We are not looking at the same image. We can never be seeing the same image. Why? Because what is seeing? What is seeing? Can we have the lights again? And can we go back to image number 1? Okay. So this light has changed. Did the color... Can we go back to the dress? Okay, lights have changed. Did the color change? Oh, not the color change, the perceived color change. So this image, right? We are seeing this image. So what I was asking is, what is seeing? For a long time in history, and even to this day, people have felt that seeing is something coming from that to your eyes. And people used to think that light came from things. But thanks to some scientists and philosophers in ancient Greece, they realized, no, light is also a factor. So if I asked you, what is seeing? Seeing is this process. The process of what? Light hitting object, object reflecting, reflection into eye goes and hits the retina. The retina has receptors. Receptors are stimulated. Stimulated receptors go through the nerves. Nerves go to the brain. Brain does the processing, sends to the mind, and the mind then sees. The mind perceives. The mind can't see. The mind perceives. When you put all of these together, we call it what? Seeing. So seeing is not something that's completely to do with the eye. Seeing is not something to do with the object. Seeing is a process that goes from, well, it's a process. Where did the process start? Where did the process start? So let's pretend that this is a picture for now, right? As in, not from a TV, but from an actual piece of paper. Where did the seeing process start? Where did it start? Okay, the light hits the object, right? So it starts with the light? It starts with the light, right? But the light has to come from electricity. So electricity comes from wire. So it comes from the wire. Seeing comes from the wire. We travel back to the wire, we get to the generator. Seeing comes from the generator. So we have a generator that makes us see. Go from generator to, say, fossil fuel plants. Is it the fossil fuel or the plant that makes us see? Or is it the start of the seeing process? Fossil fuels came from, let's say, dinosaurs. Is it because of dinosaurs that we can see this? Can we say when seeing starts? But yeah, we strongly believe the moment this picture came into to sight or came in front of us, we saw. Therefore, seeing comes from what? The picture. Picture and the eye. It's like we're forgetting everyone in between. Now we're just thinking that only the eye and the pictures only need to see. But we're forgetting about everything in between. But really, sight. Sight is what? Sight is a process. Sight is a process. Seeing is a process. So what that means is, the color that we are seeing isn't from this. let me. So I can give you one explanation why they say that some people see God in white, others see blue and black.
Swami knows why did I see this blue before and at the second instance now I'm seeing it as white and gold. What is the explanation?
So before you saw,
Blue and black. And when you now I'm seeing white and gold.
so one explanation that scientists give is, and it makes sense, and we can expand on this as well. So people think that sight comes from what? The eyes, right? So we have rods and cones as our receptors. Those of you who had children or have seen little children, did you like order parts of the child? Like, is there like a common factory where you're like the eye factory, and you go and order and say, yeah, I want these eyes? Is that how children work? No. It's according to their DNA. The mothers and fathers and DNA come together to give rise to the proteins that give rise to the eye. Right? And the proteins, they are synthesized into organs and receptors and all this sciencey stuff. But we're not talking about the science here. I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to show you here is that the DNA that we hold, is it the same with all of us? Is it the same with all of us? For example, is my DNA and your DNA the same? If so, you should be a direct replica and we should all be the same. But that's not it. We are all different. We all have different sort of DNA. Therefore, because we have different sort of DNAs, how can we say that we're seeing the same thing? If rods and cones are created according to our DNA and our DNAs are not the same, similar but not same, how can we say our rods and cones are picking up the same things and we're feeling and seeing the same color? Let me explain this paradox, right? What color is this? Green. What color is this? Red. Okay. Let's say something, when I say something is wrong with your eyes, I can't say it's wrong, right? But let's say your eyes give the perception that when I see green, I'm actually seeing the color red. When I see red, I'm actually seeing the color green. Let's say that, right? Does that make sense? So I'm seeing the opposite of what you're seeing. But yet, since I was a small child, my parents would show me a green marker in my perspective and say this is red. Then I say, okay, I see green, but I say, or let's say, I see green, but I say red. Because that's just a what? A sanya, a name. And I see red and I say green. So when you see these leaves to be green, I see them to be red. But remember, beauty is a view. So when you say, green ivy is beautiful, I see red ivy and I say it's beautiful. But I will say it's green. We will all say it's green. And so we all agree and we say, this is green. But I'm seeing this, not this. But yet we all think that we're seeing the same thing here. But are we? So when we look at this, we are all perceiving something else. We are all actually not seeing the same thing here because our rods and cones are different. Not completely different, but they're different. Therefore, we are actually seeing something different. So some of us will have rods and cones that show us, that give the perception of gold and white, whereas others will have the perception of of black and blue. Will have the perception of black and blue due to the eye. But then again, there's other arguments saying that it's according to our views that we hold. So once I showed you the other picture, that could have changed the views. Therefore, views meaning like this looks more similar than this, and then because the way the brain, the mind, and our senses interact, they are, you can say, almost unthinkable. Because there are so many different causes. There are so many different causes that give rise to so many different effects. For example, you all believe that you're seeing me. Agree? But yet, are you? One person will be seeing one side of me, the other person will be seeing another side of me. You will have different light intensities. But yet, you all believe that I am seeing him. I'm seeing these flowers, this ivy. I'm seeing this clock. I'm seeing this board. I'm seeing a terrible flower. A red flower. Again, these are all things that we have, that we believe to be coming from this. But really, it's a process. Now, a good question that you can ask is, so what? So, color coming from the mind or color coming from this pen, so what? I don't care if the color comes from this or the color comes from my mind, because I see this and this is beautiful, so I like this, I want this. So what? How would you answer that? How would you answer that? Someone comes up to you and you come up to and you tell them, color doesn't exist, color's in the mind, and they understand, and then they ask, so what? What would be your answer? What would be your answer? Does it really matter that color comes from this or color comes from that? Is that what matters? What matters? That color is what? Color is what? Not just a perception. Color is anicca. That's what's important. Whether color is coming from this or color is coming from that, that's not what's important. Instead, that color is anicca. That color, the perception of color, is cause and effect. Or else because before this, we think, okay, this is green and it's always green. I'm seeing this green. I'm seeing green, this green here, that's what I'm seeing. But when you understand that color isn't from this, color is a process of many, many millions of different causes. For example, if I was to hold this pen in a blue light, would you still see green? Or this shade of green? If I was to hold this in a red light, would you see this shade of green? Yellow light, pink light, purple light. No, because this light can only, this color can only be there when in this light intensity. You bring it to the sun, now what? Is it this color? It will be a completely different color. Oh, now when I say complete different color, I don't mean it's going to be blue, right? If you put it in the sun. But it's not going to be the same shade. So what we're trying to understand here, that color, sight, sounds, smells, taste, touch, and thoughts are all what? Nature. So in the past, Guru Handru has had talked about color to not be from these objects, right? And he started talking about the TV and how the TV is a mix of red, green, and blue, right? Pixels and whatnot. Something that I thought, right? The first day I heard, colors don't come from, isn't from the TV. Instead, it's from the mind. I thought we were like projectors. Meaning that we're looking at a blank screen, but we project colors. Because why? There's no color that comes from this. This is a blank. So right now, it's what? Outside your eye, what color is this? Outside your eyes, what color is this? What color is this? Black, right? Right? Outside our eyes, the color is black, right? No, it's colorless. It doesn't have a color. But then when there's a flower, when there's a dress on it, then what color is it outside our eyes? Colorless. So we're looking at a colorless screen, and we're imagining things. The way we're seeing, okay, there's a dress on there. Oh, that's Tom and that's Jerry, and Tom is running after Jerry, and all of that is where? On the TV? I don't know, this person, breaking news, this person has murdered that person, and we have a new serial killer on the loose. Is it on the TV? Where is all that? Where is all that? In the mind. So people who watch TV all day, they're looking at what? It's like, if you go to a mental asylum, there are some people who would sit in front of a white wall and just stare at a white wall. Pretty much what we do when we watch TV. Except that we all can see something, so we all decide, that's normal. But in reality, we are all sitting in front of a blank thing, imagining things, imagining stories. I remember growing up and finding out that Sherlock Holmes wasn't real. Because in our heads, they have made these stories to feel so lifelike that they feel real. And so you hear, Sherlock Holmes done this, and you feel, he's a real person. He's just done that. Oh, he solved this crime. He's an amazing person. He can do this and he can do that. But once you realize that, he's just a fictional character, then you realize, okay, what am I doing? Why am I, if he's just fiction, then is he, why should I be so, why should I go crazy over something that's not real? There's an elephant here. A wild elephant here. It's all run away. Why? It's a wild elephant. Who knows what the elephant can do? But there is no elephant here. So why should we run? Why should we hide? See, what we have to realize, ladies and gentlemen, is that this world is a perception. The world that we perceive is a perception. The things that we like so much are just perceptions. I was talking with a group of people, and something that came up is, we're talking about what you give is what you get. Right? It's a topic. It's evergreen topic in our monastery, right? No matter where you go, you hear what you give is what you get, and it's become our national anthem, right? Right, our monasterial anthem, what you give is what you get. And what's really interesting about it is, one person had asked, okay, what you give is what you get. What can I really give someone? What can I really give someone? What can you give someone? Can you give someone anything? Can you? Here, you can have my pen, right? It's not mine, but you can take my green pen. Am I giving you something? Then what am I doing? Then what's this? Then what is this theory? What you give is what you get. It's false then. Is it? What can I give you? What can I give you? All I can do is change causes. Once I change the causes, all you can do is see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Can you do anything else but that? And also think. But I can't give you thoughts. I can give you something to see, something to hear, something to smell, taste, and touch, but I can't give you a thought. Can I? Can I, like, I don't know, can I have a telepathic connection with all of you and make you think of this green pen? No, what I can do is what? Give you a sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And with that, you create a thought. So what you give is what you get. What can I actually give you? I can't give you anything. Can I? So does that mean what you give is what you get is false? What you give is what you get is not false. Because remember, this world is all perceived. You are perceiving. How can you show someone affection? How can you give affection? How can you give someone kindness? Can you give kindness? Yeah, you can, right? You can give kindness because if you do something kind, you're giving kindness, right? Can you give kindness? No, what are you actually giving? A sight, a sound, maybe a smell, a taste, and a touch, but usually a sight and a sound. You give something and you say, oh, you have nothing to write with? Take my pen. Now, what I'm giving is what? A sight and a sound. So what you give is what you get is about this perceived world here. It's about the world that we perceive. So if I perceive it as, okay, I'm giving this pen to help another person, then I receive what I have given. But if I was to say, oh, this person's so annoying, but you know what? Okay, I'm going to give them this pen and see if that shuts them up. Hey, do you want a pen? Take my pen. Now, what am I going to receive? I gave the other person a pen, but what am I going to receive? See, what you give is what you get. Isn't about what you give. Again, it's not about the quantity or what. It's about the quality or how. So joining back to what we talked about earlier. It's not about what. It's about how. So we're talking about a perceived world. So I can't give you anything but something to trigger a perception. Agreed? I can't give you anything except something to trigger your perception. So what can I do? Try to trigger what? Good perceptions. Let's say person A hates the color red. I don't know that. So what I do is I give this color red. I give a red pen. Am I doing a merit or a demerit? Will I receive something that I hate because I gave them a red pen without knowing they don't like red? Of course not. Because why? It's not about what you give. It's about this inside. If you truly understand, you realize that you're dealing with no one but yourself here. You're dealing with no one but yourself, your own mind. If you truly understand, you realize you're just dealing with your own mind. Because alright, prove to me that there's another person sitting next to you, sitting in front of you, sitting behind you. Prove it to me. Come on, prove it to me. See, they're there, right? They're right next to me, in front of me. If I push them, they fall over, right? Just give them a nudge and they reply. But really, what are they giving you? A perception. So in the end of the day, all that you are receiving and all that you can give is what? Perceptions. We have to understand that. Or else I will continuously believe that I'm giving someone a pen. I'm taking a pen. I want to eat, not a pen, but I want to eat something. I want to do something. Not that I'm perceiving. Try to understand that what's happening is that we're perceiving. The outside world has nothing to do with it. This perception, well, I mean nothing. Again, what I'm saying is the outside world is the causes, but you perceiving is the mind. You perceiving is the mind. So if we live in a world where we're perceiving, what is the point of going out our way and trying to find the perception of chocolate? Traveling for miles and miles, walking on foot for a piece of chocolate, which is just what? A perception. Or someone has done something, right? And they've made me really angry, right? I'm furious, and I'm gonna walk and retaliate, seek my revenge. Revenge should be served cold. For what? To perceive that they have taken revenge. See, then you realize that all you have to do is that this body is there just for what? Just to keep this mind there until you attain your salvation. The body is sick. So what do? You give it medicine. How much medicine should you give? I have a headache. A paracetamol will do, but also with a paracetamol, I will take that one as well. That medicine as well. Is that what we should do? If your body is sick, you give it medicine for what? For its sustenance. For it to sustain its life until what? You attain your salvation. You have an injury, right? It's not life-threatening, right? Like you've got a cut and and it hurts, but it's not going to kill you. You put a plaster on and do what? Carry on with your activities. But if you think, no, I got a cut on my hand, it hurts. Like, have you had little children come up to you sometimes, and they have the smallest of injuries, and they make the biggest of deals out of it. I remember once I was very reckless, and when I think I was very small, playing with my sisters and some of my friends, and for some reason I found a bulb, right, a glass bulb, and who knows why I decided to threw it, and I cut my hand, and it was big. My sister, following my me being a role model, does the same thing, right? One of her friends, following my sister, doesn't do it, but she gets like a small scratch. So me and both my sister had like a massive cut on our hands, and she's got like a small scrape on her finger, and she goes crying and says, "I want a plaster for this." That's not saying that you shouldn't get a plaster. Get a plaster. If it's gonna get infected, get a plaster. Apply the medicine. But remember, your body is there for the mind to get this over and done with. If you need to, if you're required to have, say, 7 hours of sleep a day, take that 7 hours. More? Well, if you're sick, please take more. Why? For the sustenance of this. For what? Until you attain your salvation. Any more? What's the point? Because the rest of it is what? A perception. Honestly, if you think about this, right? You've all heard of the Nasi rhyme, row, row, row your boat? Yeah. It ends on one of the best, you can say, expressions. Life is but a dream. I remember when I listened to some sermons and I just realized, life is but a dream. Because no matter what we do, in the end, it's like a dream. We wake up and what we've done is nothing. As in, you've not achieved anything, you've not lost anything, because you're still going on. So if you were to sleep 1 hour extra, yes, you feel like if you sleep 1 hour extra just to have that 1 hour more of a dream, yeah, you wake up and the dream's gone. Yes, but I remember my dream, right? I was able to eat tea and crumpets with the queen. Yeah, but why? What's the point? It was just what? A dream. So again, the body is what? Body is you can always say, now this is not trying to demean the body here, but it's a vessel for the mind. The mind and body are interlinked, and so you have to be very careful to protect these two. 100%. But when the body is sick, make sure the mind doesn't become sick. Because we all do it. I have a headache, I can't do any more work. I'm just gonna sit back, relax, and maybe watch, maybe go and have like a good sleep. Even though you know that you don't need it. You use the sickness as an excuse. So I think your body is just a vessel for what? Your mind to do what? Perceive. Are you willing to do so much for just a perception? Are you willing to fight for a perception? Are you willing to die for a perception? These are the questions you should be asking yourself. If everything that you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and even think are just perceptions, what are we really doing? What are we really doing? There should be one thing and one thing that we do. Is getting out. Is getting out of here. Getting out of samsara. Understanding it's a perception. Understanding its essencelessness, and getting out. That's our job. Right? So remember what we talked about today, right? We talked about lots, right? I'm trying to keep this as practical as we possibly can, because I know most of you, if not all of you, are great practitioners of the Dhamma. You listen to sermons, you have teachers, personal teachers, you've got so many people to help you. So I want to give the Dhamma, of course, but I want to give more practical stuff for you to do. So is it okay if I give you guys like tasks to do? Because I know one thing, I used to hate homework. And our children can also agree, right? We all hate homework. Right? When teachers give us homework, the teacher can't wake up the next day because they get cursed a lot. So I don't want to do all of that, right? But if I give you a task to do, will you guys do it? Will you guys do it? Or do you guys not have enough time for that? You know, I've got this, I've got that, I've got all this. I know, I can't spend 5 minutes doing that. Huh? I won't give much, I promise. I'll give you something that you can all do. Okay, within this week, I want you to take a moment, right? When I mean a moment, I mean not just like a single moment, like a chitta shakti, not like that moment. I mean like a couple of minutes, maybe a half an hour or so. If you can, today itself. And really sit down and ask yourself, number one, am I doing the maximum I can for my salvation? Right. I want you all to today on we're on Poson, right? Poya? Is it Poya today? It's not Poya today? Oh, it's Dakine. So next week. There you go. That makes sense. Sorry. So, okay, next week is Poya, right? Next week is Poya? The week after. Sorry again. Technical difficulties here. No, so I want you to do it today then. Today itself. I want you to think about this, right? And then do it again on Poya, right? So you have 2 weeks until Poya. But do it today. Think about, am I doing enough? And I wanted you to change 3 things. 3 things to further increase your journey. Further, that you can use and things you can do. And make sure there are things that you can do. So I mean that you can keep on doing for the next week or so. Right? For your own betterment, for your salvation. So 3 things. 3, so you ask yourself, am I doing enough? Am I doing the maximum I possibly can do? And what 3 things can I change? And I want you to implement these 3 things. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? I'll take the silence as no. Okay. So today's Dakkiniya, so I'm very well aware that I have to end early, right? Yeah. So remember we talked about, I gave you some tasks to do. Make sure you do the task, right? See, here's the thing. I will tell you guys to do this, and I'm going to do it myself. Don't worry. I am no hypocrite, right? Because I am a student of my teachers. And I know one thing for sure. If my teachers say something, 100% they do it. They will only tell you what they do and nothing more. So I am a student of my teachers. So I will do it as well. Don't worry. Right? So if you guys can find time, I'm pretty sure I can find time as well. Right? And I'll do the same thing. Because we're on this journey together. We are all on this journey together. The journey to Nibbána isn't one that we do alone. It's not a journey that we trek alone. It's a journey that we all take together. It's funny because it's alone, but together at the same time. Because I can't force you to work on your salvation, but I can't do it without you either. Does that make sense? Like, I can't say, you know what, I can't like tie all your hands together and like pull you to Nibbána, but I can't do it without you guys either, because it's one for all and all for one, just like the Three Musketeers, right? Okay, so let's take a few moments to transfer our merits and conclude. Okay then, let's take a few moments to transfer the merits we acquired by making offerings to the infinite virtues of the Noble Triple Gem, chanting Pirit, listening to Dharma, and engaging in various meritorious deeds today. So first and foremost, let's remind ourselves how incredibly fortunate we are to be in receipt of Buddha's teachings, and with immense gratitude, let's transfer the merits to the Bhikshu Bhikshunis, Upasakas, who since time immemorial have protected and preserved the sublime teaching of the Buddha and passed it down through the generation of the noble lineage in the form of the Tripitaka, which is thankfully available to us today to study, to understand, to comprehend Dhamma. Let's all take a moment and transfer our merits that we've acquired to all the members of the Mahasangha present throughout the world, including all of the chief prelates of all the chapters who have dedicated their lives to the noble path and committed themselves to benefit to all sentient beings. Let's not forget among them will be the monks and nuns resident in your local temples and nunneries who have always been by your side through thick and thin, come rain or shine. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits to Guru Saranase, as well as all the monks resident in the monastery, as well as the Anugarikas attached to the monastery. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits and express our gratitude to those who made great efforts to disseminate the teaching of Buddha, be that by transliterating sermons, sharing them out with others, inviting others to join them. May through the power of these merits, if any have been born in the wolf plains, may they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May by the power of the merits, may they abstain from their meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits that we acquire to our devotees, friends of the monastery, who for sake of merit continue to sustain the Mahasangha. This includes every one of you who have contributed to the construction of the monastery, to those of you who provide the Mahasangha with shelter, alms, robes, medicines, as well as those who pass on and know how to extend their well wishes. May through the power of the merits, may they abstain from their meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's all take a moment to transfer our merits to our mothers, fathers, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews, nieces, our elders, friends and acquaintances, employees, and to all those who have helped us, supported us, assisted us in any shape or form. By the power of these merits, may they be healed in physical and mental ailments. May they overcome many obstacles in their spiritual progress. May they abstain from their meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits to the Devas, Brahmins, spirits, demons, Brahmins, Sakadeva, as well as numerous gods and deities who are committed to protect and fulfill the Sambuddha Sasana. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits to our guardian deities who keep watchful eye over us and keep us out of harm's way. May through the power of these merits, may they prosper in divine power and wisdom, may they abstain from their meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain supreme bliss in Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's take a moment to transfer our merits to our ancestors who have predeceased us, to all that have been friends and family to us in this long journey in samsara, to all that have helped us, supported us, assisted us in any shape or form. Let's take a moment to transfer these merits. Let's also take a moment to transfer the merits to the members of the armed forces as well as the police force who have sacrificed their lives to protect the peace and harmony of our nation. May all that have lost life in war be the friend or foe. Rejoice in the merits required today. So take a moment to transfer merit to all those who lost their life in natural calamities such as tsunamis, earthquakes, landslides, pandemics, reminding ourselves among them will be those who have been friends and family to us in this long journey samsara. Let's take a moment to transfer merit to them. May through the power of these merits, if any have been born in the willful plane, may they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May by the power of merits, may they abstain from their meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's all resolve, make the power and blessing of all the merits of quiet throughout the day. We, being witness the event of many hundreds of thousands of arhat nuances, in this blessed land. And finally, may through all the powers required throughout the day, you and I and everyone who made this program a success become a Arhat Nuance or a Arhat Main Nuance in this very life in the era of the Gautam Supreme Buddha itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Jim be with you all. Raga ginnen midetnva Desha ginnen midetnva Mohaginnen midetnva Nibbána parama sukhayan Sukita taravetnva Nibbána parama sukhayan Sukita taravetnva Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satnvayo Nibbána parama sukhayan Sukita taravetnva Nibbána parama sukhayan Sukita taravetnva Nibbána parama sukhayan Sukita taravetnva Raga gini niveva Dvesha gini niveva Moha gini niveva Nivan sapa labeva Nivan sapa labeva Nivan sapa labeva Tunurunge Susiyananta Mahaguna Belin Sila Loka Sila Satyoma Nibbāna Parama Sukhayan Sukhitaravetta